Here's a story about how I am too goddamn trusting in general. Let's jump right into it. My mom wanted to rent out our apartment room and we had an extra room to somebody, but she wanted it to be somebody that she knew because of course you can't trust everybody in your house. I'm like, yes, mom, I know exactly who we need to let move in here. I'm telling you, don't worry about it. I've known him for months. We work together. I've given him plenty of rides. I've met his family. Like, it's going to be awesome. Let him move in. Matter of fact, like, don't even take my word for it. I'll call him. You can meet him. You can interview him. Let's see what he's about. Let's see if he's a good match for the room. And this is why they say you don't know anybody until you live with them. I mean, he was the most stellar speaker you could have imagined. He didn't say anything wrong. He was respectful. He was everything he was at work and when we were hanging out in front of my mom. And that was awesome because I was hoping he would be like. So my mom agrees to let him rent the room and immediately goes off. It goes wrong. It goes terrible. I mean, from the first week. In the first week, he invited his guy over, which is fine. No problems there. The problem was that they got into a fight and they were punching things around the house. And I'm like, whoa, calm down. Don't be punching anything inside the house. Why would you do that? Especially because this is somebody else's home that you are renting. You just don't do that when you go into anybody else's home. You know, you respect their property like you would your own stuff. But he didn't have any stuff, so I guess that's why he didn't respect it. So of course time keeps rolling and rent money doesn't come. Mind you, he's already living in my house for free. When he moved in, the room was already there. Okay, there was already a bed in there. There's already a TV in there. He didn't need to go out and buy anything. All he had to bring was him and his clothes. We didn't make him buy groceries. You know, we didn't make him pay amenities. All we had him pay was a portion of the rent. And we both worked. We knew that you could afford it. He didn't have a car and he didn't have any children. So I knew that his money wasn't going there. So it was like, why can't you afford your rent? Not even 2 weeks into him living with me, I made the biggest mistake of my life. And here's what it was. One of my siblings needed a ride from somewhere else, and I'm exhausted. We've been out all day, and I don't want to drive. I want to take precautions. I don't want to be falling asleep behind the wheels. I'm very cautious about my driving. I always wear my seatbelt. I let Carter drive, and so it's fine on the way there, no red flags or anything. But you know how in your stomach there's that gut. But you know how in your stomach there's that gut feeling like telling you, like, drive your car back. Like, you need to drive your car back. And I'm like, we're getting off the highway to go and pick up my best friend so we can go to the pool at my back in my apartment complex. And he crashes my car into the back of somebody else's truck. He tells me this story while we're about to get out of the car and talk to the people that he crashed into, that he doesn't have a license. Well, he does have a license, but it's suspended because he blacks out when he's driving. So I'm like, when I asked you if you had a license, you failed to mention the fact that your license was suspended, or the fact that your license was suspended and that you black out behind the tire at that. Are you freaking serious? So at this point, I'm fed up. You guys can imagine how fed up I am with this whole situation at this point. Let me tell you the funny thing about this story. When the guy who gets out of the truck gets out, I realize, oh my God, isn't this a freaking small world? I just so happen to know the guy whose truck I just crashed into. So they decide to settle out of court. Like, they're not going to call the insurance company or whatever because Carter has agreed to pay for the damages in full. And this is why you need to get contracts when people agree to stuff, even if they're friends, because friends can stab you in the back. And let me tell you why. Carter agrees to pay for everything. He's like, yeah, I live with her. You see me all the time. We work together. Where am I going to go, right? Where am I going to go? I have to pay you back. So I get home, and you know my mother chews me a new one. She absolutely destroys me, you guys, because this car is the car that my mother bought me so I can get back and forth to school, so I didn't have to take a 2-hour bus ride to school. And I abused my rights. First of all, I wasn't supposed to let anybody drive the car, and I did because I felt like I was too tired to drive. But either way, I let somebody drive the car, and that had broken the rules. So now not only is my car crashed, but I've also lost some trust from my mom that is going to take a long time to get back. Trust me. So I'm in a rut. For a week or two, the roommate was still around. Then all of a sudden, he got a phone call that says somebody passes away in his family. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. He says he has to go out of town to the funeral, and he's gonna go and he's gonna be back. And I'm 16, or no, excuse me, I'm 18 at the time, and I just trusted that he was going to come back. I'm like, okay, all his stuff is here. He's taking a flight. Where is he going to go? You guys, this man never came back. I never seen him again. Swear to God. I called him. I'm like, hey, when are you coming back? You kind of just disappeared. I messaged him like, hey, it's been 2 months now and all of your stuff is here. Are you going to come get your stuff? Blah, blah, blah. Where are you at? And of course, the main question, where are you at so you can pay me to fix my vehicle that you crashed when you promised to pay for it? So he never showed back up. And we moved out of the apartment complex, and we had to throw all of his stuff away. And that's the truth. The truth is that I got played. He used the funeral as an excuse to get out of my house, and he took that chance to bolt. He packed what he needed and he left, and I never seen him or my money again. And I ended up getting my car fixed on my own. I worked every day, worked overtime to get my car fixed, repainted. I built some of the parts in the garage with one of my uncles that I have, and we just got my car up and running on our own, and I never seen him again. So the moral of the story is that it's okay to trust people, but don't blindly trust people, because you always know people can stab you in the back and you never would have seen it coming.